Section 3, painting and lettering and numbering. 210, when to paint. Generally, the painting and stenciling of all railway equipment, including locomotives, is governed by the AR 7465. Locomotive normally will be painted in completely during the performance of depot maintenance. At other times, when the painted surface of the deteriorated surface and extent of the rusting or peeling is evident, equipment should not be painted to prevent further deterioration. To provide a presentable appearance, they is responsible for the paint foreman to determine whether the paint over the old paint to remove the old coatings of the military specification military PC 3321C governing paintings of the locomotive. Inspection during the paint monthly inspection locomotive's condition of the paint will be noted carefully and recorded. Records included special references to any of the surfaces which may be having the blistered, peeled, or otherwise deteriorated may be an inspected record. If the possible use of the system of the periodic spots will ensure the retention of the suitable protective coating on the wood of the metal surfaces, often avoids a complete repainting of the piece of equipment. 211 safety precautions. Safe respirator will be worn during all spray painting operations. Preparation contains the benzoyl will not be applied with the spraying. Inhaling benzoyl fumes extremely injurious to the health. 3. Cover lugs of the pressure feed of the paint tank will not be loosened unless it is certain that the pressure container has been released. Pressure feed paint tank safety valves must be tested regularly. 5. Rubber gloves should be worn when they handle sealing or acid solvent. B. The cause of the prevention of fires, rags, waste, and other soaked paint. Well, the oil and R fire hazards will be placed in standard self-closing metal cans have been legs of at least 4 inches high to provide spaces for air circulation. Can will and empty at the end of each working day. Contents removed to a safe place and destroy the trash. Rubbish will be placed in covered metal containers which will be emptied daily in contents with destroyed and stored in an isolated vault. Main stocks, solvent, paints, and other flammable materials will be stored outside of the paint shop in separate enclosures. Can containers, paints, thinners, and other paint materials will be covered tightly before being stored away and put away for the night. Precautions outlined by the Army regulations of the storage of the gasoline will also be followed for the paint and the thinners, etc. Empty drums and other containers in which the solvents, thickeners, thinners, similar materials have been shipped are potential hazards since they have often contained enough vaporized material of flammable nature to cause an explosion. Heat or flammable such as welding or soldering operations must not ever be applied to such a drum and can unless they are fit for steam or out through the filled with the water inspected to ensure that they are all in trace of the order of the paint and the removal. 212. Preparation. Surface preparation. Surface requirement period painting must be prepared in accordance with the instruction contained with the military P3321C. Component supervision and inspection for the phase mandatory since paint will not adhere uniform to surfaces which are dirty and otherwise sorely prepared for applying paint. Immediately prior to the painting, all surfaces will be cleaned, dried, and conducted with to best adhesion of the materials to be applied. Grease, oil, and other foreign material will be removed. Extreme cautions will be exercised with the sandblasting locomotives to ensure the sand does not enter the bearings and contact surfaces to which may be detrimental. Parts of the sandblaster would ordinarily remove from the locomotive. Oil paint will not be stripped except for where essential. Masking glasses, surfaces, rubber components, valve, pressure gauges, throttles, reverse levers, upholster surfaces, dynamos, air pumps, packaging, piston rods, valve rods, etc. will be masked and otherwise protected during the spray painting. 213 point painting procedures. Military specification, military PC 3321C, complete list of material approved for the use of the Army Railroad equipment also contains the complete instruction for the selecting improved materials, preparing, mixing, the applying of the paint of the properly prepared surface diesel electric locomotive. The specification is to be used and guided the person will engage in the painting of the above equipment. Paint will be applied with the care and under the component supervision and the protection of the surface. First of the primary coating of the greatest importance, since the corrosion of the rod is spread rapidly under the paint film is primarily improperly applied. All surfaces will be cleaned and loosened, paint and dirt and scale and grease before painting. Steel surfaces other than welded hot riveted surfaces which are inaccessible for the after assembly which will be given in one coat with a red lead before assembly. Wood of the surface would also be inaccessible after assembly will be given off one of the coat of the synthetic primer prior to the assembly. Water steel seals, braces, posts, stringers, etc. will be exposed during the repairs of the equipment. Will be brushed, painted, and sprayed with 1K coat of the synthetic primer. Paint applied to the truck's component will be thinned and sufficient in the thin detection of cracks and other flaws not prevented. Parts contained in the journal box will not be painted. Surfaces painted with red lead or zinc plus primer will not be primed with a synthetic primer. If the engine or the generator housings have not been removed from the locomotive, they may be spray painted. If they are installed within the locomotive, they will be brush painted. Engine assembly should be painted only after the repair of the rebuilding operations are completed. Cylinder block heads and crankcases, oil pans, and are assembled to the cylinder block. Make all intake openings, filler pipes, and generator grilling, and paint is to be sprayed. Exercise extreme care to prevent paint entering the openings of the grilling if brushing paint is done. Hose adequate inside the diameter must be used of the paint. The spray equipment of the great many of the instances malfunction of the spray of the gun is due to the insufficient supply of the air to the gun. This is condition usually caused by the use of the improper size of the hole. A drop in the pressure occurs whenever compressed air is transmitted. 214 Lettering General. Generally, the primary purpose of lettering of the numbers identified with the classified equipment marking will be clear out. Properly located figures will reflect the same highly quality workmanship comparable to that of the equipment itself. Distinction can be lent to the engineering design with the letters and numbers, neatness, quality, and the contribute to the general appearance of the equipment. Even the roughest freight of the equipment will be given the highest possible degree of the perfection and balance, proportion of the design of the markings, and because of the main instances, letters, numbers are copied from the equipment yard and train the personnel at night, and while the equipment is in motion, it is extremely important that the letters and the numbers are legible and correctly placed. A letter and number in the Department of the Army Railroad Equipment will comply with the requirements of the AR 7465 MIL P3321C, accordance with the allocation of the numbers of continental United States theater of operation. Letters and numbers and will be in accordance with the illustration in this manual of the various types of equipment. Letters and numbers illustrated with the figure 96 are authorized for all railroad equipment with the ensure the uniformity and identification, classification, label styles, proportion that has been analyzed mathematically and geometrically in drawings. Letter and numbering on the locomotive is still illustrated in figure 98. The Air Force insignia will be out of the dimensions of the paragraph 215. Illustrations of this manual are presented as typical for the various types of equipment used in the Department of the Army marking arrangements. Therefore, making must be flexible to fit all types on some equipment. It will be impossible to adhere strict to the size of arrangement and location of the marking. Good judgment will be exercised in locating the elements to be suit in the construction of the equipment. Information on the drawing will be shown entirely on the equipment. In all cases, information not shown on the drawing will not be added to the unless specifically authorized by the U.S. Army Material Command. Marking on the motive power equipment then will have the position of the elements defined and related to the front and the back ends, while markings on the rolling stock will be arranged so that they are present in the same view when the car is to be seen from either side. It's like east and west, so 215 letter procedure. A letter number, the insignia on the locomotives will be applied. White gloss enamel. One coat of the yellow enamel will be used in the safety markings, which will allow the alternate 4-inch black, yellow diagonal stripes and indicated the drawings. The stripe around for the peripheral and the head plate will not be less than 2 inches of the width. Safety markings will not be used in theater operation. B. When necessary to do the presence of louvers, vents, and doors to etc. size and arrangements, location marking may be revised to suit construction equipment. However, the deviations of figure 99 and 100 will be kept in minimum. Diesel electric locomotives will be marked in accordance with figures 99 and 100. Locomotives in number 7-inch and 7-inch figures will be spaced properly and located centrally on the right and left side of the cab. Locomotive number in the 7-inch figures shall be shown on the front, back ends of the diesel electric locomotive on equipment opened and operated by the Department of the Army. Here's the letters, the insignia. The word transportation cords in 3-inch letters will be placed as shown in the words of the United States Army. The 7-inch letters to the right and side of the motor housing locomotives on the center of the cab. The lettering will be able to be rear on the cab on the other types of the cab, forward in the cab. This letter may be raised or lowered in space suited to the grill openings inside the plate. Shop initials, type of the repairs, category of the maintenance, and date out of the shop. And the 1-inch characteristics will be indicated on the main air reserve according to the following conditions. When an air reserve is supported by the longitudinal position, the information will be shown. On the left main air reserve, not near the forward end of the reserve, there are supported lateral positions. The information will be shown on the rear reserve near its left end, where their data can be readily seen on the left side of the locomotive. For example, the MSB 11665. This is the MRS 17. MRS diesel electric locomotive. In theater operation, shop initials will not be shown. Test pressure in pounds per square inch on the top of the line. In the shop initials date the hydraulic static test on second line. First line characters will inch one in space between the lines will be applied to the main air reserve according to the following conditions. When the reserve are supported in the longitude position, the information will be applied to the rear ends. When the reserve are supported to the lateral positions, information will be applied to the reserve near the left ends where it can be read seen from the left side of the locomotive. Example, tested 190 pounds, the MS 1665. Theater operation, shop initials will not be shown. Shop initials, the HT hammer test. Dating the hammer test is the inch one characteristics, which will be applied to each main reserve below the two elements required in 5 above the MS HT 7664. This shows the markings U.S. Army 7 inches locomotive steering, the serial number 774 on the back, letter F4. In case the dimension of the marking centered and shown, safety markings will not be applied in the theater operation. The markings show in theaters, the operation shop initials will not be shown. The letter F is the 4-inch characters will show not on each side near the end of the diesel electric locomotive. For indication purposes, designated on the front and the end. Part 7, Diesel Electric Locomotive Repairs, Chapter 19, Repair Facilities.